Before we get into today's episode, this one is brought to you by Flowdesk, the email marketing platform I use to run my own newsletter at Lion Creatives. If you've been putting off starting an email list or you're on a platform that just isn't working for you, Flowdesk is worth a look. The templates are beautiful, it's easy to use, and it's built for small business owners. Get 25% off your first year at flowdesk.com/c/Lion Creatives, but I'll make sure to drop the link in the show notes.
And so what I've discovered in my journey is that things are constantly going to shift. And so for me, twice a year at least or more, I go back to the drawing board. I revisit my vision statement, my mission statement. I know this sounds very antiquated, but for me, it was really helpful. And it took me years to fully understand what is my why, what is my vision, what is my mission.
Welcome to This Might Get Creative, a Behind the Brand podcast by Lion Creatives. I'm Svenja Lion, and in each episode, I sit down with local business owners and entrepreneurs to share their stories, how they got started, what keeps them going, and what makes their business stand out. My goal? To help more amazing businesses be seen, supported, and celebrated. So grab your coffee, because this might just get creative. Sarah, so nice to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having
me. Yes, you are the founder and CEO of the Stretch Therapists. It's a certification company that trains fitness and wellness professionals in stretch bodywork. You built it as a digital nomad, according to what we talked about in our pre-recording. And you started on your laptop and you traveled the world with your fiance. And you had a global team, you have a global team, global students, and a mission built around representation in an industry that had not always had enough of it. That is not really what we're going to talk about today. We are here to talk about what happens when the thing that you built gets bigger than you. And when the brand that worked because it was you, it was your face, it was your clients, it was your hustle, has to become something else, and what it costs to make that shift. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to dive in. I love talking about this stuff.
Yes, and I'm so happy that we were able to set this up today, because I had a cancellation for today, and so Sarah was able to connect at the right moment and jump in and grab the spot. So I'm very happy to have you here.
Great, thank you. Well, you're a great interviewer. I love the way you ask questions. It's very insightful. So I'm looking forward to sharing, about the company and myself with my followers and your followers. This is great. This is
awesome.
Cool.
Thank you. So let's dive right in. And because when we had our phone call or our pre-recording call, you mentioned that you were working with a lot of celebrity clients, that you found those clients, those were your clients. And then once the company or the business grew, you kind of had to hand off those clients to other people. And you said that was kind of like a grieving process. So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I get this question quite a bit from other entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, wondering how do you scale in that? How do you let go of certain parts of the company or parts of the business that you have a hard time letting go because you worked so hard to get? So clients, for example. So, always wanted to work with pro athletes and celebrities. I love movies. And so to be able to work with some of these heroes has always been a dream. And to actually be able to attain them, it's kind of like a dream come true. So once you get that, it's very hard to let go. So, I was fortunate enough to work with a lot of pro athletes and celebrities and have them as clients. And yes, it was very tough to make the decision to let them go. It was really a matter of, okay, what's my end goal? I want to be able to build an empire. I want to give myself the opportunity. And I found that staying in the business, doing the appointments, taking on that sort of work took me away from working on the business, as they say, and I realized I needed that time and that mental space to really just dream and plan and be the visionary. And that end goal trumped all of the stuff I was doing. So I did, as I told you, had a grieving process where I was like, okay, this is amazing. I love that I got to work with these people. I'm okay. I'm ready. I feel complete in ending that chapter, saying thank you, giving it that grace, and passing them along to capable hands, which would be my team, other members of my team. And it was hard, it's like, I worked so hard and I'm gifting this to you. Please take care of them. And I went through an identity crisis. What does this mean for me if I give these celebrities up? Like, am I still, the celebrity stretch therapist? Okay, what if I fail at building an empire? I've lost these clients. I went through that whole internal dialogue. But I'm glad that I stuck with my end goal, because now I get to see how my team's thriving, and then I get to sort of build us up into a new space. So it's been pretty cool.
Yes. So, and then when we back it up a little bit, because you told me during the call, you said that you were the face on social media the whole time. So you were, working, and then you were taking videos or photos at the same, it was it was time consuming to be the face of the brand on social media as well.
Absolutely. So when I discovered Instagram, I saw the opportunity there. I was like, this is the app for me. I love that it's all photos.
That was when, because that was a long time ago.
Yes. This was before 2015. So before I think I joined Instagram like 2012. So I wasn't super early adopter, but it was like early enough. And I thought this was great. At the time, I was a personal trainer. And so I posted some personal training stuff, but I didn't take it super seriously. And then I noticed that there were some people in the space that was using it for educational purposes. And so I had some mentors who were really putting rehab and recovery on Instagram. And I thought, okay, well, why don't I put my stretch therapy stuff that I had started to learn? And it kind of just, luckily at the time, Instagram was very favorable to its creators. And I worked really hard at it. I posted a couple times a day. I tried to post every day. I tried to test different content. In essence, I became a content creator with the focus of education and building my brand so that I could potentially work with professional athletes. And I just wanted to see where it went.
So, and the reason why I asked about when you started this was because it was when Instagram was still, earlier.
Yeah.
And I think you joined at the perfect time to really grow this part, because now if you compare it to now, this is totally different now.
It's very hard, and we've pivoted. Actually, I was talking to you about how I'm actually not myself have the Instagram app on my phone, and I have my team go through it because we've had to pivot since then. But being the face was a lot of work. The onus is on you, and you really have to take responsibility for everything. And I felt a lot of pressure, good pressure, to continue to post, and it forced me to up my game. I'm like, okay, I'm putting out content. I need to make sure it's correct, doing research, making sure like I have proper testimonials and before and afters that are legitimate with my clients. So it was a full-time job being a content creator, but I knew it was sort of like a means, I don't want to say means to an end, but it definitely was a stepping stone into building the brand awareness and to building up the company. And I knew early on, I had a mentor who said, hey, like if you're going to be the face, it's going to be really hard to extract yourself, especially if you want to scale. And I always was kind of like fascinated with the idea of scaling. And I knew personally I didn't want to be stretching people for the rest of my life. It's a lot of work, and my purpose was elsewhere. It is a vehicle in which to help people, but I knew I wanted something bigger. And luckily with the brand, I knew from the beginning it was going to be hard to translate it to a company brand. And we're still in the middle of it. It takes some time. I knew it'd take years. You know, it's taken years to like slowly promote my team more and really get them out there and train them up. And they're amazing. And, they're better stretch therapists than I am. So I really wanted to give them that platform as I now step back, give people that light so that I can really focus on building the back end of things, which is where I like living in the back end and just trying to figure out how to scale. I've always loved puzzles, so it's kind of like a fun puzzle for me.
So you are, your business, are you providing the certifications for the stretch therapists that also work for you? Or is it not just for the people?
Yeah, so we provide certifications for anyone who is interested in learning stretch bodywork techniques. So my modality is called the Performance Stretch System, and we have 2 levels. And so we have a lot of massage therapists, yoga instructors, personal trainers, Pilates instructors, some physical therapists, some chiros that come take the course. And then they go off and, create their own businesses. Most of them are entrepreneurs. Yeah.
So they, so they have, like you said, their own yoga studio, and then they incorporate what they learned with you into their own. Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, very cool.
And so tell me a little bit more about the certification itself. Like, stretching, yes, everybody knows what's stretching, but what's so special about it?
Yeah, so for our company, it's really important that, part of our ethos and our company vision is to create the best educational experiences while allowing people to feel seen, heard, and acknowledged. So this was a big and representation and diversity and empowerment is really important to us as well. This was important to me when I started it because I've been through so many courses. It doesn't have to be fitness or wellness. I've been to a lot of courses. You have too. Most people can relate where maybe they didn't feel like they belonged. They didn't feel seen. They weren't acknowledged. It was hard to really feel like you fit in. And so we wanted to make sure we created courses that we do our best to make you feel empowered, especially if you're shy, because I grew up shy and told not to speak, right? And to keep my head down. And I want to give people a chance to try something else, being able to speak, use their voice and make them uncomfortable where they feel like, oh, okay, people are asking me about me. Okay, how do I relate to this? I want people to feel connected. So that's what makes us really different, I feel, anyway. And I mean, that truly is the purpose. Of course, we want them to feel educated, like they came for a good product. Yes, we put a lot of work into that, but we put a lot of work into the human side of things too.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit more about the inclusion and diversity part of the business?
Yes, absolutely. So it's very organic and intentional. So my team that I've assembled and been lucky enough to assemble, we're all different from different walks of life. We are mostly female, but open to all. And so most of my instructors are female, but we also have a male on the team who is, who is half Filipino. So I'm Filipino, my background's Filipino. And he's half Black. And my director of operations, she is Black Canadian. And we always joke that he's older than us, but we always joke that he's like, if we were to have a child, it would be Kevin. And that just kind of happened organically. I think it's just the types of people that we draw. We believe in representation, and so we are strong proponents for that. And, we're very blessed that a lot of people that come to the courses say, hey, I came because I don't see you in the space very often, or I love that you're Filipino, and then they'll come up to Deb and say, we don't see a lot of ourselves represented on the stage. And so that's really important to us. And we want to kind of foster that environment, and even in our messaging. So we do our best, we're human, but we strive to see the best in people.
No, but I love that mission. What I also want to talk about a little more is the team aspect, because when we had our pre-call, you said that it was difficult to find the right people that fit into the team, that it took a long time to really find the best team for your business. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are struggling with this, at least I am as well, that if I want to hire someone, for example, for social media, we talked about social media, it is very difficult for me to let that go, even though I'm really not a big fan, but because I have like a certain way I'm thinking about it. And I think a lot of other entrepreneurs are having the same problem, from being alone to then hiring someone on the team. And we talked about that and that was very interesting what you said.
Yeah, so that's very tough. You really have to set the expectation. So let's catch it in reality. So what are the odds that you're going to find the perfect person right away? I mean, it can happen. It's happened, but I think it's best to prepare yourself that it's likely not going to happen. So I think knowing that helped me go like, okay, we're going to try this person for 3 months or less and sort of see what happens, and getting into that mindset that, okay, the company is the most important thing. So let's give this person a chance to see if it's a culture fit, to use these corporate terms, and if the work is getting done, and if we all get along. That's really important, right? But oftentimes what I found was we'd start someone, and in the first month or two, it's become very clear if it's not a good fit. And usually what has happened in the past is that we'll give them some we'll have a conversation with them if things aren't getting done, and say, hey, like, okay, this hasn't been done, but, basically we're going to give you more chances. And then in the end, sometimes they just like fall off. We've had people ghost us that just stopped like showing up to our calls, right? Some didn't even send an invoice, or they'll ghost and then they'll send an invoice months later, and we're just like, hey, so you'll have to deal with that. And it is infuriating because you've invested so much time and effort. But I think for us, it was like, okay, we still need someone. Okay, keep going, and we've had instances where we settled with someone because we're like, we need someone, we don't have time to hire someone. And, you learn through that too, and you learn very early on, if you had let them go sooner, another ideal person would have come in and you would have had, months of work done sooner. So it's kind of like trial and error. But I think the main focus, and I guess what I'm noticing, is that continue to understand what your end goal is, right? So every decision we make is like, okay, this end goal, whatever it may be. It's like, if you want to be a multi-million-dollar company, or if you want to sell, or if you want to have an empire, a lifestyle brand, it can't just be you. And so you have to go through the growing pains of allowing the person to fail a bit. So in the beginning, I was very controlling. You're probably also going to have to expect that. Like, okay, I'm probably going to be controlling for the first few years, but I have the intention of trying to be less micromanaging. My team still tells me like, okay, hey, Sarah, when you get really anxious, you start to micromanage and it's a pain in the ass. So you have to check yourself, right? And so micromanaging will really destroy the company like energy and vibe. So I do have to check myself. But I think just remembering, constantly bringing yourself back to remembering what your end goal is can be helpful. But remember, you allow yourself to fail, allow your new team members to fail. They're like, okay, one thing that always happens is we've all done it is accidentally sent out an email to the wrong list or the whole list or the wrong person with the wrong name. And so you have to forgive them and say, hey, it happens. And be honest, like that's happened to me. Just like don't do it again. And be okay with them making mistakes. And especially if you're the face, it all falls on me. So I have to take full responsibility of everything. I can't blame one of my team members if they make a mistake. I have to assume all responsibility. Like it was me. So you have to be okay with that too. And that's hard. That's hard for me. That's hard for most people to take full responsibility. I've had a lot of learning curves to overcome.
If you're a business owner and you've ever wondered why your brand isn't pulling its weight, I built something for you. It's called the Brand Audit Scorecard, and it's completely free. 10 questions, takes about 5 minutes, and it'll show you exactly where your brand is strong and where it's losing you clients. You can grab it at linecreatives.com/brand audit scorecard, and the link is in the show notes. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, and that is an important part, I think, what you're saying, because the whole culture of your business, for example, how your employees are treated by you, if you micromanage or not, how much freedom they have, and how the ability for them to give you feedback as well. I think that's a big part of the company culture and your mission and your vision, and which is part of your branding. So, and I think just making the connection to business branding here, do you feel that, that from what you had at the beginning when you first started, then there was this shift. So now you have a different mission. Maybe the end goal is the same, but the mission about how to get to the end goal. Do you think that shifted from when you first started? Or...
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more clarity. And so the path in which to get there shifts. And then I'm more open to certain things. Even the end goal has changed too. And so what I've discovered in my journey is that things are constantly going to shift. And so for me, twice a year at least or more, I go back to the drawing board. I revisit my vision statement, my mission statement. I know this sounds very antiquated, but for me, it was really helpful. And it took me years to fully understand what is my why, what is my vision, what is my mission. And I would painstakingly pore over my laptop or my journals to understand, because I didn't feel connected to my vision, my mission, my why for a long time. So I said, okay, I'm not feeling connected, so let me keep reiterating it until something clicks. And I don't know if that's the right way, but eventually, like literally years in, I finally felt a connection to my why. And so now when I talk about my company vision, I know it to a T. But it took me a while when people would ask, what's your vision? I'd be like, oh, let me look at my notes. I can't remember it. And that happens, right?
Yeah.
And so now I just find I have a lot more clarity with growing this team. So it gives me the space to understand, oh, wow, we can actually take it here. So let me figure out what I want this end goal to look like. I never thought about exiting. I always assumed that, oh, it's really hard to exit a service industry, especially in the fitness and wellness industry. So I thought, okay, no one's ever going to buy this, right? But luckily, I met some really great CFOs and financial advisors who said, why couldn't you sell it? And I was like, I don't know, isn't it hard? And then they'll be like, okay, well, why don't we actually break it down? Okay, let's start with the end goal again. This is why I love always doing reverse engineering. Yeah. Let's start with the end goal. If you wanted to sell, why don't we just see if there are steps? Like what would have to happen in order for you to sell? And I did this exercise many, many, many times with my financial advisor, with myself, with whomever on my team and my mentors, and really helped to see that there is a way to get there. It might not be easy, but I'm gonna have to take certain steps in order to get there. And so that has changed. Like that part of the end goal has changed. So it's It's actually really fascinating and fun. I love the scaling part of the business. It's the most fun. It's a lot. I mean, even the grinding startup part of running a business is hard. But now the pressure changes because now you have a lot of responsibility. You have people relying on you, people that you are paying, you're employing or contracting, and they're relying on, first of all, they believe in your vision and your company. And so you don't want to let them down. And then you have mentors you don't want to let down. You have family, like it's a lot. So for me, the challenge is like learning to handle the pressure. Can be quite challenging, but I think I'm doing a decent job. Some days are harder than others.
Yeah, but I think if you have, and I like that you talked about the end goal. You have an end goal, and I mean, it might maybe slightly change, but like there's nuances, but in general, you have one end goal. And then it takes a while to really create, like you said, to create the real vision, to create the mission, something that feels comfortable, because that's what I notice also a lot with clients, that they don't know what their vision is. They don't know, for like in with what I do, it's like, oh, I just need a logo. Well, you don't just need a logo, because if you just take a logo, there's a lot of things that are missing. Like that logo could be totally inaccurate for what you are trying to do in the end. So when you're starting your business, when you have, that idea that this is what I want to do, this is the business that I want to go in, always think about the end goal, and always try to create what, in that moment, what is my vision right now? What do I want to, like, where do I want this to go? And like you said, it can change a little bit here and there, and it can grow over time, but you still have to have this sense of, okay, these are the people that I would like to attract. This is what I would like to do. This is who I am, and this is how I'm comfortable. And I think with this plan, doesn't mean that you always have to follow every single step that you decided today to do in 10 years. No, but it develops, and then from each step, the whole process in overall is so much easier. Because
Absolutely.
you take it step by step, and you work towards one goal, and then you pivot into something else, like you said, with switching from social media, from having your face as the brand to being more like a business, and that is still developing, right? As far as I understood.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, it's and I think, and this is the exciting part of being a business owner, of having this dream that you want to do something, and this is where I want to take it, and it just to see and live the moments of how it develops. I love that part.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. And to add on to that, I also didn't know where I wanted to take it. I wanted to add that as a caveat. It's okay to not fully understand where you want to take it, and just have fun and play and see where it goes.
Yeah.
What I want to sort of emphasize here is just to have some anchors. So in your mind, for when I started, I was like, oh, I just want to see where I take it. But I knew it meant bigger beyond me. So that was it. That's all I needed to know. I didn't need to know like all the little nuances yet, because you have no clue from where you're standing. Yeah. So I said, okay, let me just see what my potential is. What can I create and what can I make? And I think that's also a special place to be in too. But I do think having an anchor saying, okay, I just want to take it as far as I can take it. And that's where I held on to. I was like, okay, that just means push myself out of my comfort zone continuously. That meant stop being the face. Oh, okay, that's weird. How do I do that? Is it okay if I stop teaching physically at the courses now? Oh, are people going to sign up? Let's try it. I'm all about testing and then seeing where the potential lies.
And I love that about you, because switching a little bit into the marketing side of the business, because now you're not the face anymore. So what changed? And we talked about it during the pre-call about Google Ads. Was it Google Ads or Meta Ads?
Meta Ads, yeah.
Yes, Meta Ads. And that you had to completely learn that part of advertising.
Yeah.
Tell us a
Yeah,
little
well,
about that.
I'm still a little bit of the face, so I'm not completely out of it. So
Yeah.
we still use me in like the sales pages and the ads. However, in the courses, I don't have to physically be there anymore, which is great. So I just wanted to clear that up. So it's interesting because I'm going through something in the business. We have highs and lows, and I always believe in being vulnerable and transparent. So right now we're riding a low wave. Just happens. That's life. Learning how to regulate during the low parts and the high parts can be really challenging. Luckily, I have a good team that's just like, Sarah, don't worry, we got this. It's going to be a fine. So with riding these lows, I'll tell you something that we're dealing with now when we talked about ads. So with social media, I realized I had to pivot because we weren't generating the same interest. So we switched to ads. And for over a year now, the ads have been really good to us. But now we're finding that we have to pivot again. So this is the thing of being an entrepreneur. So ads are still really great for us, but conversion isn't happening as well as it used to. So now we have to diagnose this problem, and I don't know how to do that. So what I'm, again, as the CEO and the leader, it's like, okay, well, now I have to figure this out. And I love to problem solve, apparently. So I luckily reached out to your community, and so this is why I love being vulnerable with your community and letting them know what's going on, like where are your struggles. It's real, it's human, they can relate. And one of our members so graciously responded and say, hey, I'm sorry you guys are going through this. I was a data analyst in another lifetime, and I own a performance center. So he's in the space, and he took our course. And he's like, I want to help you guys. So we hopped on a call, and he's like, send me all of these reports. Or I'm like, I don't know where to find these reports. So send me all these reports so we can really hone in on what's going on with your demographic. Like, are you targeting the right demographic? As far as he mentioned zip codes. So we're going to go through all of that data. And that's beyond, when I saw the list, I was overwhelmed. So I said to my team, hey, the two members of the team, I need you to split this up and send these reports to him so that he can help us. So that's where we're at right now. So I want to give people a real-time understanding of like what business can, growing and scaling, the pains of it as well. It's not all flowers. It's very, very challenging. But in my opinion, once we get onto the other side, I will remember how it's worth it.
Yes, and you can be, and just by going through these things, you learn so much more about business, about yourself even.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I can't imagine. It probably has to do with AI, all these, everything that you need to, because now the same thing happens with SEO, where your website was awesome, you popped up on every first page, first spot, and now all of a sudden it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So now with AI, you need to learn all the new steps, and everything is fluid, and you always have, by the time, at least that's what I'm feeling, by the time you think you have it down, it changes.
Yeah.
You need to learn
That's
again.
exactly what has happened.
Yeah. No, it's fun, but it's challenging. Yes.
Absolutely.
You also said, because talking about branding, you said your brand is shifting into. I mean, we talked about that. It's not just you anymore. It's more the team. But what else is shifting? Like,
yes.
Overall.
Yes, there's a lot. So shifting. It's taking a while for me to truly extricate myself from doing the day-to-day stuff. I find myself still like clicking into, our, we use Kajabi as our platform, clicking into Kajabi. And it took me years to like not be in my inbox, not to be in the company inbox. And my team kept saying, stop going into the inbox, you're messing up our system. And eventually they like changed the password, and they're just like, I have it, but like they changed it and said, don't look at the password, you have it in your file, but you can't go in there unless like absolutely necessary. So that's one of the things. So slowly removing myself, even our team meetings. I mean, because we're going through something right now, I have more meetings, but the intention is to have less and less meetings. And so we just promoted our director of ops to take on a lot more responsibility. And she's like, Sarah, I don't think you should have meetings with the rest of the team anymore, like weekly meetings. And I was like, I agree, because now I'm in this space where stuff like this, where we're like, we have to pivot and we have to re-strategize on a bigger scale. It really means I have to give myself time as the leader to really to think, and not to just think, to dream up new scenarios, to dream up solutions, to give myself space to allow calculations in the background to happen without being distracted by the everyday things. And so that's a challenge, because I'm like, okay, I'm panicking, so I'll panic action things, right? Yeah. And as we know, some of them stick, some of them don't really stick the landing, and you're doing all this extra work for nothing. And so I'm trying to give myself time to take a step back and just be in the chaos, and then hopefully to find some peace and find some answers. Because right now I'm all over the place. So that is a big challenge, is maybe giving a reference and a resource to people can help them understand where I'm coming from. So I read this book last year called 10X is Easier Than 2X. I don't know if you've heard of it, by Dan Sullivan. And
no, I've not.
I really appreciate the concepts. It's changed my mindset in that when you're growing and building your business, don't think, how am I going to double, for example, revenue? It could be anything, my workforce, etc. More like, how can I 10x my revenue, my workforce, whatever. And so the concept is that you will change the decisions you're making today. Because the decisions you're making today to double your income next year versus 10 times your income next year, you really have to think a lot bigger. And so that's where I'm at that point. And they recommend having free days. And free days are days where you don't have meetings, you're not doing like the everyday work, you're just being and allowing things to come to you. And that's the hard part. I grew up being like very action oriented, like go, 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 go. We always have to do something, because that served me very well. But now at this stage, I realize, I'm going to have to change my mindset and try something else. And since it's been a year, I've implemented this philosophy here and there, and it's really changed the game. We've up-leveled very much, but then it also there's going to be ups and downs. So I am trying to get into that mindset, and also teaching my team that mindset is very hard. I'm like, you guys have to be self-managing. What do you need from me now in order for you to be self-managing, so that I can have these free days to keep us, growing and expanding? Yeah. So that's a challenging part, and that's where we're at. Those are the shifts I've been making lately.
And I love that you are so open about your journey, about the challenges and the wins and the losses, like all these things, that you're so open about that. And I'm assuming that you're the same with your team, that it's important to be transparent with the team so that the team knows where they are at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying my best. So I'm trying to, in the past, I kept everything close to the vest because I was insecure, whatever. I was insecure. I wasn't sure if they should know it. I didn't really know what I was doing. But now I'm like, okay, let me try vulnerability. Let me try transparency. Let me ask for help. And I actually find it relieves a lot of the pressure. And the team now understands what's going on. They feel a little bit more connected as a group, and then also to our goal, and then they want to help. So it's still a work in progress. You still have to remember, communicate what's happening right now to the team. So just like learning to train myself to be more transparent and more communicative. But yeah, that's where we're at.
And that's the hard part, because sometimes it's hard to articulate those things. The hard
Absolutely.
things,
especially when you're in it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you just see all the mess and everything, and then you're trying to tell the team, but then they probably don't know the background story, and it's like Yeah, I can't imagine. And it's already about 40 minutes. So it's time for one of my questions that I usually ask. So starting this podcast was kind of a leap for me. What was a leap for you?
Oh, wow. There are a lot of leaps. You know what? Actually, I think leap is starting a business, being an entrepreneur. In the beginning, didn't think I had what it took. I was very insecure and I didn't have the self-confidence. It took me years to find self-confidence, even when I started the business. So I would say that's a big leap, going the entrepreneurial route. And the second leap is, yes, allowing myself to be vulnerable. Actually telling, I remember it was really hard for me to tell my financial advisor how much money the company is actually making and what is in my personal bank accounts, because I grew up with, Asian parents who were like, oh, keep your money tight. Don't let anyone ever know. And so I still feel that feeling when I was like, okay, hey, to my financial advisor, I was like, I kind of was very vague about how much the company's actually making. This is actually what the company's making. And that was a very humbling moment for me. Yeah. But when I did, we actually could go into real numbers and actually come up with a legitimate strategy. And I'm glad I did, but it was hard.
Yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from, and my husband is always making fun of me because he's like, you always have these secret bank accounts. I don't, but I don't really have to.
Right?
Sure. Not share, but don't have to talk about it the whole time.
Yeah.
I do not have secret bank accounts. I wish, but I don't. So anyways, but if someone wants to get in contact with you, how can they do that?
Yes, absolutely. So you can hit us up on Instagram. This is probably like our main one. It's at The Stretch Therapist. And then LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is also The Stretch Therapist. And you can visit our website, The Stretch Therapists, plural, with an S, because it's not just me, .com.
Okay, awesome. I will make sure to put all of this into the show notes. And Sarah, thank you so much for being on the show. And to summarize everything we talked about is that start your own business, start your dream, pivot when the need arises, be open and vulnerable with your team and your audience. Ask for help and don't give up. That's what I got from today's episode.
Yes, and always revisit your end goal, your purpose, your end goal, your why.
Yes. And learn new things like meta ads. And UTM tracking, whatever. All these things. These links. Yes, but I think a lot of people can relate to your story, and it's an important message. And
thank you,
I love having you on the show.
Yes, I love the conversation. It was, it's really great to have conversations like this with people who understand and can ask like the actual questions that I find can really illuminate what's going on behind the scenes. So thank you so much, Venya. It was great. It was fun.
Thank you. Thank you. And bye. See you next time. Thanks for listening to This Might Get Creative, a Behind the Brand podcast by Lying Creatives. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show and share it with someone who loves discovering local businesses and creative entrepreneurs. You can learn more about my work at lyingcreatives.com or find me on Instagram, line.creatives, and LinkedIn at Lying Creatives. Until next time, keep showing up, keep creating, and keep getting seen.